My dearly beloved daughter, my time for more suffering will come about as my passion on the cross will be commemorated. No man understands the extent of my suffering during my crucifixion or the way in which I was scourged. My scourging was the worst. I was beaten savagely by 10 men, and every inch of my body was slashed. The flesh on my back was torn and my shoulder blades were visible. I could barely stand, and one eye was bruised and crushed. I could only see through my left eye. By the time they took me before Pontius Pilate and placed the crown of thorns on my head, I could barely stand up. They then stripped me bare before placing a short red garment over my head, and then placed a palm branch in my right hand. Each thorn was like a needle, so sharp was it. One of these thorns also pierced my right eye, which left me barely able to see. I lost so much blood that I vomited and was so dizzy, that when I began my ascent to Calvary I could not hold the cross. I fell so many times that it took hours before I reached the top of the hill. I was scourged and whipped each step of the way. My body was bloody all over and covered with a thick sweat produced by a scorching sun. I fainted a few times. Much as this was painful and agonizing, the most frightening of all was the hatred shown to me, not just by the adults along the way, but by young children who kicked me because they were following their parents' example. The screams that poured out from their mouths and the hatred was nothing compared to the fear they had of me. Because, behind it all, they were still not sure whether or not I was, in fact, the Messiah they were awaiting for so long. It was easier, therefore, to hate me, denounce me rather than accept me, for that would have meant that they would have had to change their ways. My most agonizing moment was when I lay on the ground on my side, having been kicked in the back again, and saw my beloved mother looking at me. She was heartbroken and had to be held up by 2 of my disciples. I could only see her through the one remaining eye, and I could not bear to watch her torment. The jeers, screams, and roars from the crowds of hundreds could be felt from the ground I lay on, and it took 600 soldiers to organize and supervise the crucifixion of myself and 6 others. I was the main focus of their attention, and the others did not suffer like I did. When my wrists, at the base of my thumbs, were nailed to the cross, I could no longer feel. My body was so battered and bruised that I had gone into shock. My shoulders were dislocated and my arms were torn out of their sockets. The worst physical damage was inflicted on my body before I was nailed to the cross. I let out no scream, no protest, only a whisper. This infuriated my executioners, who wanted a reaction to satisfy their lusts. I never engaged with them, for to do so would have meant that I would have had to engage with Satan and his demons who infested their souls. This is why their viciousness towards me was so intense. I was hanging on the cross for 5 hours. The sun was scorching and without clouds to help reduce the burning of my skin. As soon as I took my last breath, my Father sent forth black clouds as well as thunder and lightning. The storm that took place was of such a frightening magnitude and so sudden that my spectators were left in no doubt at that stage that I was, indeed, the Savior that had been sent by God the Father. I reveal this to you, my daughter, as a gift to you in return for the huge act of suffering you have offered me. Tell my children that I do not regret my passion on the cross. What I do regret is that my sacrifice has been forgotten, and that so many deny that my crucifixion took place. Many have no idea as to what I had to suffer, as many of my apostles did not witness my climb to Calvary. What hurts me today is that so many deny me still. My appeal to you, my followers, is do not allow my crucifixion to go to waste. I died for all sins including those committed today. I want and I need to save even those who deny me even today. Your beloved Savior, Jesus Christ.